Welcome back, I'm Min. Today I will show you how to use UISearch controller to display search results. UISearch controller is a special UI element that is optimized for displaying search results. It has a search bar that shows or hides a results table based on the search bar state. It was introduced in iOS 8, and it replaces the deprecated UISearch display controller. The search bar is accessible from both the current page and the search results page. Typically, you embed the search bar in the navigation bar or table view header. When you tap inside the search bar, a semi-transparent modal appears over the current screen. As you start typing, a table view appears within the modal. The search bar's cancel button dismisses the modal overlay. UISearch controller is made up of three major parts. Search bar. A search bar comes included with UISearch controller. Search results controller. This is a custom view controller you provide to display search results. In this tutorial, you will use a table view controller. And the last one, search results updater. This is a delegate that responds to search bar text entry. In this tutorial, the table view controller will implement this delegate and update the table view data source accordingly. Set up the table view controller. Drag a table view controller from the object library onto the storyboard. Make sure you use the table view controller with the yellow icon and not the table view with the gray icon. And then create a file location search wcontroller.swift. And open the new file. We delete some lines of file, which we know needed. After that, go back to the storyboard and select the table view controller scene. In the identity inspector, set the class to location searchable. Set the storyboard ID to location search. Just in case you're just skimming, pay attention to this particular step. And select the table view cell in the view hierarchy. Set the identifier to cell. This is just a typical table view controller setup. One important difference though is the use of a storyboard ID, which you'll use in a later step. Embed the view controller inside a navigation controller. In the storyboard, select the view controller scene, the one containing the map. Go to Editor and Navigation Controller. Set up the UISearch controller. Now it's time to write some UISearch controller code. Create a property for the UISearch controller. Within the viewController class body, add the following variable. This variable has controller level scope to keep the UISearch controller in memory after it's created. Set up the search results table. Append the following code to the contents of viewDidLoad. The location searchable is the table view controller you set up earlier in the storyboard. I get lost storyboard ID here last time, then type again, it will be location search. Now I set up the UISearch controller delegate. In the project navigator, open location searchable.swift. Add the following class extension to the bottom, outside of the class body. I will set up the search bar now. Switch back to viewController.swift and append the following code to the contents of viewDidLoad and follow me. This configures the search bar and embeds it within the navigation bar. And I also configure the UISearch controller appearance. Add some more code to viewDidLoad. Hides navigation bar during presentation, determines whether the navigation bar disappears when the search results are shown. Set this to false, since we want the search bar accessible at all times. Dims background during presentation gives the modal overlay a semi-transparent background when the search bar is selected. Setting defines presentation context to true is an important but easily overlooked step. By default, the modal overlay will take up the entire screen, covering the search bar. Defines presentation context limits the overlap area to just the view controller's frame, instead of the whole navigation controller. Search for locations using MK Local Search Request. Apple provides a location search API for querying places. This API is free, which is one reason you might use native MapKit over a third-party SDK like Google Maps. Within the location searchable class body, add the following variables. Matching items. You will use this later on to stash search results for easy access. Map view. Search queries rely on a map region to prioritize local results. The map view variable is a handle to the map from the previous screen. You'll wire this up in the next step. Switch to viewcontroller.swift and append the following line to the contents of viewDidLoad. Here we need fix a little bit. This passes along a handle of the map view from the main view controller onto the location searchable. Set up the API call. Switch back again to location search table.swift and replace update search results for search controller with the following code. The guard statement unwraps the optional values for map view and the search bar text. MK Local Search Request. A search request is comprised of a search string and a map region that provides location context. The search string comes from the search bar text, and the map region comes from the map view. MK Local Search performs the actual search on the request object. Start with completion handler executes the search query and returns a MK Local Search response object, which contains an array of map items. You stash these map items inside matching items, and then reload the table. Set up the table view data source. Now that data is coming back from the API, it's time to wire up the UI. Add another class extension to the bottom of location searchable.swift. This extension groups all the UISearch datasource methods together. The matching items array determines the number of table rows. Each cell was configured with an identifier of cell in a previous section. The cell's built-in text label is set to the placemark name of the map item. The cell's detail text label is set to an empty string for now. You will populate this with the address later on. If in your site is not the same like this, please check back each of last steps. Because if you over this one, the next steps will not work. Add the placemark address. So far, you've only used the placemark name. Placemarks have other properties like subthoroughfare and administrative area, which correspond to street number and state. You can piece together these properties to form a full postal address. In this section, you will squeeze the postal address into a single line, so that it fits inside the cell's detail text label. Add the following method within the location search table class body. Now that we have a postal address, it's time to add it to the subtitle cell. Within cell for row at index path, replace the detail text label text assignment with the following code. Again, if you don't see like what you see on this screen, you must check back, because next steps need it. Drop a map pin. In this section, you will drop a pin on the map whenever the user taps on a search result. Since the map and table view are in two separate controllers, you'll use a protocol to communicate between the two. You've been using protocols and delegates throughout this tutorial. But now you'll be creating your own custom protocol. Think of a protocol as a job description, and a delegate as an employee. The delegate is the one that actually performs the job, and it can assume multiple roles, as long as he has the skills. Imagine an understaffed fast food joint where employees need to wear multiple hats. The guy taking your order is both the cashier and the French fry guy. In this analogy, one delegate conforms to two protocols. In this section, you will create a special job duty, or protocol, for the map controller. This role has just one responsibility, which is to drop a pin on the map. The table view controller will call this method whenever the user selects a search result. This extension implements the drop_pin method in order to adopt the handleMapSearch protocol. The incoming placemark is cached in the selected pin variable. This will be useful later when you create the callout button. Remove annotations clears the map of any existing annotations. This step is to ensure we're only dealing with one annotation pin on the map at a time. MapKit annotation is a map pin that contains a coordinate, title, and subtitle. The placemark has similar information like a coordinate and address information. Here you populate the title and subtitle with information that makes sense. Wire up the protocol. Append the following code to the contents of viewDidLoad. The parent view controller passes a handle of itself to the child controller location search table. This variable doesn't exist yet, so you must create it before using. This class extension groups UITableViewController delegate methods together. When a search result row is selected, you find the appropriate placemark based on the row number. Then you pass the placemark to the map controller via the custom protocol method. Finally, you close the search results modal so the user can see the map. Here you can see what we have done. In next video of part 3, I will show you how to touch on screen and take a pin annotation on map. Also show you how to draw the road between two places with some information such as distance. The last one of this video, if you think the icon so hard to see, you can follow this one. Thank for watching this video. Do you want me to make another subject? How to make Uber application with Xcode 10 and Swift 5. If you want, please take a comment below to let me know and subscribe for me also.